I was searching for the PlayStation 5 new user interface and I ended up clicking this video.
Mom, I think something's wrong with Dad.
Peter?
I get it, I guess. Don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for the next product. This is what most corporations want us to do, but I feel like this guy is pushing the limits a little too much. Whatever makes him happy, blah 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 blah. This is what I always hear from people. Wow, if it's happy, why you have a problem with it? Well, I don't really have a problem with him being happy. I have a problem with him getting excited for something that doesn't really deserves that much excitement. Look, there's no perfect game. I get that. And you can have a lot of fun with a game that's not that awesome. That being said, it's hard to not get a little mad when you see somebody get overexcited about something so insignificant. It's nothing wrong with it unless it's your first time doing it and you make things awkward by overreacting. Anyway, let's see what exactly was my problem with his video, because we're clearly at the intro and this is not my problem with the video. His reaction is not my problem.
Dude, I actually am one of those people that kind of find it cringe when people try and find a winner in all of these events. When we have E3, everyone wants to figure out who won E3 and it's all subjective.
Do you know what I find cringe about people trying to find a winner during events like this or any console wars? The fact that people take it too seriously. I joke about consoles and PC. I make PC Master Race jokes, but that's it, they are just jokes. I only care to play the most creative and fun games on the best piece of hardware I can afford. So, I find it very cringe when people react to their favorite hardware like they are the CEO of that corporation.
Very casually started with Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I have never seen such a strong lineup going into a new generation of console. PlayStation hasn't missed a beat. This whole generation, they smashed out game releases one after the other.
PlayStation only exists because of the exclusives. They don't have the best console and they don't have good game prices. And they even started to censorship games. If PlayStation doesn't give people a lot of good exclusive, then why would you want a PlayStation 5? Xbox has the most powerful console and PC has the best graphics. Anyway, I don't want to go into any more details. What I'm trying to say is that the main reason that you will buy a PlayStation 5 will be for the exclusives.
Can't believe it, a new Final Fantasy. We also saw gameplay in here too, by the way, and it looks very similar to 15. I think that's a good call, because the gameplay was my favorite part of 15.
This is the part when I started to have some issues with what he's saying. First of all, you can believe it, it's a new Final Fantasy. Dude, it's, I don't know, 16? We see Final Fantasy all the time. And no, we didn't see gameplay, actual gameplay, we saw some cinematic gameplay. It's a big difference because the gameplay in the game can be a little different. If it's like in 15, then they didn't do anything and it's the same game. That's not really a new game, that's milking the same game. And the combat in 15 was very bad. You just smashed some buttons and you flashed all over the place. You didn't need to apply any strategy. It was the worst combat I tried in Final Fantasy. No strategy at all. If you like the combat, fine by me, but if a game like Final Fantasy that was always remembered for the story is now loved only for the gameplay, then something is very wrong with the game. Because if I want good gameplay, I will play games like Legend of Zelda or something like that, where I don't really care about the story, I just love the gameplay. But yeah, Final Fantasy is not that.
Then we gotta look at Spider-Man, and I mean, the last game was really good, so we can expect a lot of the same, but I think the thing they're really showing off here is just how much this PlayStation is doing. That fight on the bridge, there was so many lighting effects and destruction effects just while you're fighting, like not even in, like, during the gameplay.
I love the gameplay from the last Spider-Man. And the story was okay, even if Mary Jane was so ugly and annoying. And I don't think I will remember this game that much because it had potential, but it didn't really do anything with it. My main issue was with the useless side missions that were all over the map. This kind of stuff is there to make stupid people think the game is longer than it actually is. The laziest game design I ever saw in my life. That's what Ubisoft does, and that's why I stopped playing Ubisoft games. Just adding some random stuff all over the map to make me waste time is a lazy game design and boring. I don't want that in my games anymore. Maybe mobile games, because I don't care for them. He then says that we can expect more of the same. Duh, this is supposed to be DLC because it's clearly the same Spider-Man game. That's why it's not a fully priced game. He then talks about the fight on the bridge with the light effects and destruction. This somehow shows how much the PlayStation 5 can do. There are just some light effects and a lot of things falling apart. My PlayStation 4 Pro can do the same thing without any issues. It's not that impressive. It's not a PlayStation 5 game. I get it that you like flashy things like destruction, but that doesn't make it a good game. I don't see any improvements. This can easily be a PlayStation 4 Pro console and the same Spider-Man with this added as a $10, maybe $20 DLC. Insomniac even added an Ultimate Edition where you have a remastered of Spider-Man. Wow, a remastered of a game that doesn't need to be remastered. Almost all PlayStation 4 games are backward compatible with the PlayStation 5, so calling Spider-Man a remastered just so you can make idiots buy the game again is a little too much. I'm 100% sure there will be idiots thinking you will get mind-blowing improvements, but I will still say a lovely fuck you for your laziness and greed, Sony.
We have a new Harry Potter game. I don't know anything about this. I hadn't heard this was coming. I don't know what, like, since when this was a thing, but the gameplay, the actual game looks amazing.
This is why I have a problem with this guy, and I hate him. Well, not for real, because I don't care that much, but I hate what he says in this video. Okay, maybe hate is a little too much, maybe dislike is a better word, I have no idea. For real now, what gameplay? They don't show anything, they just show random cinematic videos from the game. This is no real gameplay or story. You have no idea how the game will play out, how the game will be, how the story will be. What's so amazing about what they showed? This looks like a PlayStation 3 game. It has nothing that shows the power of the PlayStation 5. No game showed was a PlayStation 5 game, and we can clearly see that. If you own a PlayStation 4 Pro, you will not see any difference between this game on a PlayStation 5 and the same game on a PlayStation 4 Pro. Maybe because of the ray tracing, some lights and shadows will look better, but that's all, and it will not be that big of a deal. If it really was a big deal, don't you think Sony will show that a little more?
But I don't know if that's what this is. I can't tell if it's MMO, which I don't think so. I can't tell if it's single player. I can't tell if it's like 1 to 4 co-op. But either way, there are some really cool visuals going on in here. Parts that I'm hoping are actually gameplay because holy crap, they look fantastic.
You just said at the Final Fantasy game and this game that the gameplay looks amazing, and now you are saying that you can't tell what is gameplay or just cinematic video? You don't even have an idea what kind of game it is. That's how much gameplay they showed. All you had to say was that it has some cool visuals. What the fuck? You don't even care what kind of game it is? You care more about some random visuals that are not impressive in any way. Maybe if you never played games in your life, it is impressive, but even so, you see better stuff in movies.
I mean, you name it, if it was a fun game this generation or a PlayStation 4 exclusive, you can play it all for free when you get the PlayStation 5 day one, just by having your PS Plus subscription to play online. I don't know, man. Like, it's such a strong launch for a console.
If this is a strong launch for a console, then the bar is very low. The Spider-Man DLC sold as a new game, that's what's supposed to be a strong launch? If you already have a PlayStation 4, most likely you already have and even played most of the games they will give at launch. I have a better idea. If you never had a PlayStation 4, you can buy it now because every PlayStation 5 owner will want to sell their old PlayStation. You will get the PlayStation 4 Pro at a low price with games for free or very cheap. When you finish playing what you like, the PlayStation 5 will cost a lot less and you will actually have games that are made especially for the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 is already sold out in many places, so it will be very hard to buy one. Also, why do you have to hurry and buy the PlayStation 5? Just wait and see how good it is, if it has some hardware issues. Anyway, this was the video. He doesn't say anything that I care about anymore, so yeah. The truth is that it's too early to say what is the best platform for games. So can we stop getting so excited over some cinematic gameplay? I always see people get excited over a game that they don't even finish or didn't enjoy that much. Also, you should never care about the company. You only care if they give you the product that you love. It's okay to get excited, but be careful because the excitement can turn into disappointment because you trusted the company way too much and way too early. Oh my god, I'm still mad when I heard that the best part of Final Fantasy 15 was the combat. I mean, he's not wrong because the story was very boring for a Final Fantasy game, but that's not a reason, not a good reason to be happy, especially because the combat looked like a low budget copy from Final Fantasy 7 remake or something like that. I mean, it wasn't that great. I was expecting him to say that the second best thing was staying in the car and waiting to reach the next mission. I mean, come on, is it so hard to see that Final Fantasy doesn't really care about the story anymore? And I don't know, they're getting really lazy. Or at least they lack creativity because I don't see it anymore in their games. That's it for my rant. Truth is that I don't care that much because I don't have to play a AAA game to have fun. I can find old games that I haven't played or indie games that are more creative. Even so, I'm a little sad when I see a game that I love getting a bad remake or a bad sequel. But this is why we need more competition, not more fanboys.
We also saw gameplay in here too, by the way, and it looked very similar to 15. I think that's a good call because the gameplay was my favorite part of 15. But the gameplay, the actual game looks amazing! But I don't know if that's what this is. I can't tell if it's MMO, which I don't think so. I can't tell if it's single player. I can't tell if it's like 1 to 4 co-op. But either way, there are some really cool visuals going on in here. Parts that I'm hoping are actually gameplay because holy crap, they look fantastic.